Another thing I've also gotten enough to last me for a while is camping. Call me crazy, but nearly dying several times trying to put a damper on the whole great outdoors thing. Now we were having to deal with ghosts. Maybe they're the Casper kind? I suggested. Yeah, they sound really friendly, Carl sarcastically replied. Come on, we need to hide. Try as we might to, there didn't seem to be any getting away from them. No matter how far we ran, they didn't sound more than a couple of yards away. Why won't they quit? I asked, breathing heavily. Maybe live prey attracts them, or what? Carl abruptly stopped, causing me to damn near run into him. The hell are you doing? We need to move. I have an idea. What? Face them and don't show any fear. You want to run that by me one more time? Just trust me. Although apprehensive about his idea, I was honestly too worn out to keep running. Besides, Carl survived his fair share of paranormal shit starting before I was even born. Therefore, his instinct for dealing with these kinds of things is sharper than mine. All right, I agreed, taking a deep breath and turning around. What or who the spirits used to be was hard to distinguish. Different voices was causing the moans. Coming into view showed that its sources were comprised of harpies, unicorns, equus, and what scared me most of all, humans. It was like looking at a preview of what was most likely to be our fate. Carl, my faith in your plan is dwindling fast. Quiet, don't move. They came closer, allowing us to see what had caused their deaths. Most seemed to have been caused by injuries, decapitations, impalements, and throat wounds, just to name a few. Some seemed to have died from starvation, judging by how emaciated they appeared. One of them, who used to be human, stopped right in front of me. He looked me dead in the eyes, although it was hard to tell if he actually was seeing, as how his were gouged out. Keeping my composure then took all of my willpower. It was like having to hold in a fart at a funeral or wedding. I knew that if either of us showed any signs of being afraid, it'd be our end. They stayed, hovering in front of us for what felt like hours. Really, it couldn't have been more than just 2 or 3 minutes. Eventually, they began going away. Neither of us moved a muscle until we were sure they were gone. I need a minute, I said, leaning against a tree. All right, where, if any, do you think would be a good place to set up camp? A cave would be ideal, but there's no telling if there's one nearby. Let's keep walking then. Maybe we yelled as a net trap ensnared us. How the hell did they set this up? I asked. They don't even have hands. I actually had a lot of questions in regards to how exactly they were able to build all of what we saw, but they took a back seat to our current predicament. We heard footsteps coming toward us. They sounded unusually light given the creatures around us. To our surprise, they turned out to belong to a group of people. Each one of them surrounded the net with, I want to say, lances would be the best way to describe them. Basically, their weapons were detached unicorn horns reattached to handles. Each one of them wore the fur of either a Pegasus or a unicorn head. The distinction between the two is that the unicorn hood had stitches where the horns used to be. Seeing them under the moonlight was all kinds of spooky. Still, they were an upgrade compared to what we'd seen so far. We figured getting them to assist us might be an option. Hey, get us down from here, Carl told them. They complied, using one of their lances to cut us down. They gave us the false impression that they were going to offer to help us. The fall took the wind out of us a little. We were about to thank them when two of them kicked us across our temples, knocking us both out. Upon reawakening sometime later, I let out a pained groan and discovered we were tied with rope. "Carl, are you awake?" "Yeah," he replied, shaking off his grogginess as well. "But I'm wondering why your hair's like that." "Like what?" "Standing straight up." "Wait a second. We're upside down." We looked downwards, which was really up from our perspective, and saw a pot full of boiling water. "Of course, they had to be cannibals," I said. "Carl, we need to get the hell out of here." "I'm aware of that." "Shit." "What?" "They took my stuff." "Are you fucking kidding me? You really think I'd be pulling that kind of shit right now?" "Sorry, just stressed. How the hell are we going to get out of here, though? Maybe we can chew through the ropes?" I proceeded to try biting into them. My efforts only granted me sore jaws. Okay, well, that didn't work. Any ideas? Carl seemed to be thinking. Before he could come up with something, however, they came into the room. "Let us go, you crazy assholes," I shouted at them. One of them spoke to us. "Whether you live or die is dependent on the will of our masters." "And who would they be?" Carl asked. They all turned toward a large doorway lit by torches on both sides. Galloping became audible to us. We thought we were about to see either Pegasus or unicorns. Instead, what came into view were mixes of both. They had both horns and wings. Their leader was gold with a purple horn. "Hybrids," I said. "If that's what you prefer to call us," she replied. "What we are doesn't have a name. Now, we're quite hungry." She ordered one of the cannibals to lower us into the pot. "Wait," Carl objected. "How come you didn't kill all these people, but you're about to have us killed?" "They proved their worth to us." "How can we?" "What's your business here?" "Cut us down and we'll tell you. The blood's rushing to our heads." "Very well. However, if you try to run, you'll meet a swift end." Once freed of our restraints, we explained things to them. "You're working for the Unicorn King and Queen?" she said, approaching enragement in her voice. "I should end you both right now." She lowered her horn at level with us. "Hey," I protested, "it was not like we wanted to do this. They basically put us in a do-or-die situation." There were a few tense seconds when we thought she was going to impale us anyway. Then she stood back up. "Your mission will require you to go into the Equus Tower?" "That's right," Carl replied. "And if you succeed, you'll have to return to the Unicorn's castle." "What about it?" She paced back and forth as though an idea was coming to her. "There's going to be a change in your plans," she told us. "I'm afraid to ask," I said, "but what exactly do you mean by that?" "You two are going to assassinate both the Equo King and Queen and the Unicorn King and Queen."